The Horus Heresy, a war that split the Imperium of man in half, consuming hundreds of worlds, billions of lives, and forever reshaping the destiny of humanity. Its chronicles are dominated by the Primarchs, their legions, and the clash of demigods, the betrayal of Horus, the defense of Terra, the sacrifice of the Emperor. But the true war was far broader. Beyond the deeds of the Astartes, 1,000 minor factions played their part. Forgotten soldiers, hidden agents, and alien forces. Their stories remain shrouded, yet their impact was undeniable. To fully understand the heresy, one must look beyond the Warmaster. Before the heresy, the Legiones Astartes did not conquer the galaxy alone. They marched beside the Imperial Army, an immense war machine of mortal men and women, numbering in the countless billions. Far larger than the legions, far more diverse, they were humanity's true hammer. The army was no monolith. Regiments were drawn from every world of the Imperium, some civilized, some barbaric, many somewhere in between. Some fought with massed ranks and armoured spearheads, others with strange cultural weapons, unique traditions, preserved even within the rigid Tactica Imperialis. They were no immortal gene warriors. They were soldiers of flesh and blood, tasked with holding the same lines as the sons of the gods. And though they were seldom credited, the Imperial Army changed the tide of battle time and time again. At Istvan V, it was army regiments who established drop zones under unrelenting fire, enabling the legions to deploy. At Beta Garman, the so-called Titan Death, entire armoured divisions bled themselves dry against traitor god machines, buying minutes that saved worlds. And at Molech, mortal infantry held their barricades for weeks against Astartes and Titans alike. Their names are rarely recorded, their sacrifices erased. The heresy destroyed the army as it had once been. Some regiments turned traitor, corrupted by their masters. Others were shattered, written out of history for the sins of their commanders. After the war, the High Lords of Terra feared their power. The army was broken apart. No single human force would ever again be allowed to rival the Astartes. In its place rose the Astra Militarum. Powerful, yes, but forever fragmented, a shadow of what once was. The Mechanicum of Mars, the priesthood of the machine god, their loyalty was never to Terra, nor to the Emperor, but to the Omnissiah. When Horus rose in rebellion, the Mechanicum itself fractured, plunging into civil war of machine against machine. Some forges swore fealty to the Emperor, and others to Horus. Still, more declared independence, caring nothing for either side. Their wars, fought across void fleets and orbital shipyards, devastated entire systems. The schism was not clean, it was chaotic, contradictory, and bitter. In this crucible, wonders long lost were unleashed. Mobile fortress crawlers, titan killers of experimental design, and vast cybernetic constructs prowled battlefields. These machines, too unstable or too forbidden, would vanish in the wars that followed, echoes of what could have been the Mechanicum's greatest age. Others turned to darker paths. Some tech magis bound daemons into circuitry, creating engines of flesh and steel. Others pursued forbidden research, reshaping men into half-machine monstrosities. These abominations brought devastation, but in doing so, they damned their forges forever. The Imperium's expansion was built not just on armies and machines, but on pioneers, the rogue traders and navigator houses. Men and women with the Emperor's writ to explore beyond the known, to trade, to claim, to rule. And in the chaos of the heresy, their power only grew. Operating outside strict hierarchy, rogue traders commanded fleets that rivaled legions. They carved new dominions, exploited the confusion of civil war. Some swore loyalty, others sold their service. More served only themselves. It was rogue traders who carried messages throughout blockades. navigators who guided fleets through the shifting madness of the warp. In some campaigns, their intelligence turned defeat into victory, uncovering weaknesses the Astartes themselves could not see. But theirs was never faith. Their allegiance shifted with opportunity. One day loyalist allies, the next arming the traitors. When the war ended, many vanished into the void, their fortune secured and their crimes unpunished. The heresy was a war of man against man, but the galaxy beyond humanity did not remain silent. The Xenos watched, and some acted. The Eldar, ancient and cunning, subtly influenced events. Through misdirection and hidden intervention, they sought to guide humanity's downfall away from their own survival. Some whisper they even whispered warnings to the Emperor himself. But not all were this subtle. Orcs, drawn to the fire of war, erupted across a dozen systems. Whole subsectors fell not to Horus nor to Terra, but the green tides of destruction. For both sides, the Orcs were a bleeding wound, draining resources, breaking sieges, and derailing campaigns. But even lesser species left their scars. Hurried migrations consumed entire garrisons. Rangdan remnants struck from the shadows, and stranger still, species long lost to history resurfaced in the galaxy's chaos. The heresy was never clean, it was total war. But perhaps the truest victims of the heresy were not soldiers or Astartes, but the ordinary, civilians, entire worlds crushed beneath gods of war. And yet, even here, resistance was born. Planetary defense forces, local militia, and civilian armies faced Astartes with courage beyond reason. Though often swept aside, some stood their ground for months, defying impossible odds. In cities under siege, secret networks formed, saboteurs cut supply lines, civilians fed intelligence to loyalists. Resistance was fragile, but it mattered. In the darkest days, the smallest victories shone brightest. But resistance was not always pure. Cults of chaos grew in cracks of despair. What began as desperate faith often ended in daemon worship, and when the heresy ended, these cults remained, festering, spreading, and ensuring the long war would never end. The Horus Heresy is remembered for giants, the Primarchs, the Astartes, the Emperor. But no war is waged by heroes alone. Beneath their banners fought countless forgotten hands, mortal regiments, divided Mechanicum, shadow agents, unwilling Xenos, and the common man. Their stories were erased, their sacrifices forgotten. Yet, without them, the heresy may have ended very differently. This brings us to the end of today's video. If you enjoyed this dive into the minor factions of the Horus Heresy, the truth behind the Warmaster, then let me know and I'll look into doing some more stuff like this in the future. Down in the description, you'll find a link to my other channel, where if you enjoy Warhammer stuff, which I can assume you do if you are watching this video, you will see over there that we are building, painting, and we'll soon be battling Warhammer armies against each other. So if that sounds something you'll be into, then please have a look at that. Anyway, that'll be it from me today. Have a wonderful day or night, wherever you are in the world. And as always, bye for now, guys.